Action.
Getting too far away from the camera.
No, you can wiggle forward if you want. We're the same distance, aren't we?
That's perfect.
Isn't it a lovely day?
Isn't it a lovely day?
You ready? Ready as ever?
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Heather and Hops. That'll do for this morning. How are you? It's really lovely to welcome you to this little space on the internet that we have both of us now, have documented our knitting projects from Project 1 whilst hoping to connect with the creative community of makers and fibre fiends around the world. So yes, if you're new, welcome. We are going to have a slightly different episode today. Alex, my husband, is here with me.
Hello everyone.
And we're going to talk a little bit about the Southern Wool Show that we went to on the weekend on the way to this beautiful place. And yeah, today we have a cup of tea. What tea do we have?
It is a English breakfast tea blended by yours truly. It's a tea from Postcard Teas where I work, and it's a blend of a South Indian tea from Kerala. It's a blend of a Assam from Assam and a Japanese tea from Kumamoto in Japan.
Oh, I like that name.
Yeah.
And it is very enjoyable, I've got to say. Particularly made more special from our little location here. Sometimes I don't forget to talk about the things I'm wearing, so I'll try and mention it. I am wearing the top that I wore for our wedding, which was just over a year ago. Celebrated our 1 year anniversary on Sunday. And I knitted it using Back to Blighty's alpaca silk base. It's a really lovely base, it's lace weight, but you get like 800 or 1600 meters for a skein. And it was a custom dyed colourway, which is awesome. And the top was improvised, so there is no pattern for this. It is related to another top that I've made, and I used those numbers to come up with this little texture and things. So yeah, what are you working on before we get going?
I'm working on a hat that I've been working on for quite some time now.
Not
But
too
I'm
long.
getting there. I think I'll have it done by tomorrow.
Yeah.
No, you go.
You've improvised it.
It's completely improvised. It's a 1x1, 2x2 rib.
Like the elephants come marching in.
It's a 2x2 rib, and the yarn is
Garthenor?
Garthenor, and it is a Romney Polworth cross, or not cross,
Yeah.
a blend. Yeah.
And I'll try and remember to put the colourway in the description box, along with anything else. I try to remember to put everything in, but if I don't ever, feel free to ask. I will do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. I know that this week's I'm a bit behind, but sometimes you just need a few days to regroup, recollect, and come back alive and kicking, so to speak. Do you remember that?
Live and kicking?
Yeah.
Yeah. Childhood memories, yeah.
Zoe Ball.
Saturday mornings.
I wasn't going to share this. I don't have the label with me, but I might do a few rows cheekily while Alex is sharing if he gets chatting. But what am I knitting on, Alex?
So we are having a little break, a little family holiday with my family, who haven't really spent very much time with in the last few years, and we're going to a wedding at the end of the week before we go home. And I realised yesterday that I forgot to bring a tie with me, so I begged my wife here to whip me one up, and
We are doing all right.
lo and behold,
We started yesterday, and I almost bought a self-striping yarn with me. I was tempted to bring one from the Dotty Wool Co, who I knitted 2 pairs of socks using her yarns, and I thought, oh, I'll just throw one of those balls into my bag because it will be an easy project to cast on and knit on if I need some sort of simple just stockinette. And it's a great time to start thinking about Christmas gifts, and I thought they'd be perfect, but my heart is obviously still a little bit stuck on woolly wools, and I recently purchased as a celebration yarn this from Wool Matters, and I just saw it and I wound it up the day we left and put it in my bag, and it couldn't have been more perfect that I did, because I really wasn't going to, but it goes very nicely with your suit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And your hair colour.
My hair colour.
My hair colour brings out your eyes.
Freshly bleached from playing in the sea.
But I can't talk much about this base because I can't actually remember. I don't have it with me, but I will talk about it next time we chat. I'll try and remember to share a bit more, but I know that the fleece is all sourced and cared for by the maker, who then gets it spun and then dyes naturally. It feels really lovely, actually. It looks more rustic than it feels, I would say.
It looks to me like it's dyed with onion skins and turmeric for the yellow.
Yes.
That would be a guess, but
Good
I don't know.
But yeah, so I will keep cracking on with this when I can, and hopefully next week there'll be a nice little bit of footage of a dapper Alex wearing a knitted tie, which is kind of apt because we're going to meet a Fibre friend, a very lovely Fibre friend and D&D friend. Right, I'll sit with it. I'll sit with it here. So we went to the wool show on Saturday, and it really was lovely, wasn't it? It was quite organised with the...
It was big. Yeah.
It was at Newbury Racecourse, where I think I have been for an event, but a very different event years and years ago, related to my coffee work. But I'd never been in the buildings, and there was 2 buildings, and both first floors were where the space and the stall holders were. It was quite organised with a one-way system and sensible behaviours being adhered to. But we met some really lovely people, didn't we?
Lots of really nice people, yeah.
And we did a little bit of purchasing. We want to support our friends and makers, obviously. Alex is much better at having money to spend than I am, but...
Not really.
No, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I didn't actually buy a single skein of wool, which is not that unusual actually. I've been to a couple now and not bought any yarn, but I didn't buy any yarn this time, but I did purchase some fibre. And we'll start off with your purchase because it was the first one that we did.
Yeah, I couldn't resist.
Yeah, it's very cool. Alex has bought a kit from Through the Rainbow. You have many, many kits. But look. I'll do it. I do shots afterwards, don't worry.
So this is a needle felting kit to make little toadstools, little mushrooms. Yeah.
Neither of us have done any needle felting before, so it'll be quite interesting to try. And I think once you've got the kit and practiced a couple of shapes, you'll be able to then use even the remnants from my spinning to then make other items should you want. So everyone might be getting mushrooms for Christmas, little Christmas decorations.
Yeah,
which would be really
that's
nice.
what I thought. Nice autumn activity, although it seems more like summer today than autumn, but
oh, it's still technically summer.
okay.
I think we've got another
I think we were
15
just
days.
tricked into feeling like it was autumn by the
Cold weather we've
cold
been
weather
having.
we've been having, yeah.
And overcast. It's just felt like it had been grey for months, apart
Yeah.
from like 1 or 2 odd days. But whilst we were there talking about needle felting, we not long after had a little chat with a lovely lady who might even be here watching. And she was talking about fixing socks and using needle felting. Do you remember?
Oh yeah.
And like, not so that you're not making the project, whatever that might be, a sweater or a hat, you can potentially needle felt things back together so that you're not actually having to, you know, add too much bulk to an item. I think that's quite a fun thing to explore. We've been quite lucky with the socks that we've purchased and made, that it's just the commercial ones that we own that have got holes in. I don't think any of our hand knits have got holes in yet, but
No. Only maybe where I've missed a stitch on one sock.
yeah, Alex's wedding socks, he knitted some in West Yorkshire Spinners. I think it's the Robin? No. In one of the colourways, I'll put a picture up because I am getting better at this, she says. But Alex dropped a stitch on the toe that we noticed the other day. But you still wore them, didn't you?
Yeah.
Brave.
Wear them all the time.
Yeah, brave soul. So yeah, this will be fun, and I think a good bit of learning, and hopefully we'll be able to do some foraging too for some wooden bases. And then not too shortly after that, I had quite an experience, didn't I?
You did have quite an experience. Dream come true.
It was a bit of a dream
Or
come true.
at least the daily mission come true.
Yeah, so I had gone to the festival with the idea of talking to some spinners. I have joined a group on Facebook, even though I really don't do Facebook. I get messages and then respond to them 9 days later because I'm a really bad human with being overwhelmed by social media. But I joined a spinning group recently for being able to talk to people, because although I've got a lovely wealth of knowledge among our group already, actually, you know, the more the better, especially when you just want to dive in head first. So I'd spoken to a lovely lady from one of the guilds, so I had that intention when we left to go and talk to her about spinning. But almost 30 seconds after Alex had purchased his toadstool kit, I turned around and saw some spinning wheels, and I was like, wow. And there was a lovely lady spinning, wasn't there?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that looks lovely. And I showed Alex because it's the type of drop spindle that I was hoping to invest in, and I'm excited to say that I didn't invest, but one's on the way, which is absolutely mind-boggling. So I was just explaining it to Alex a little bit, and then she's like, oh, do you spin? I was like, oh, I'm very new, and I shyly got out my little spindle, didn't I? I was like, yes, just a bit. And we had a little chat, and she's like, have you ever tried a wheel? I was like, absolutely not. And then I got really anxious, to be honest, and panicked, didn't I?
You did.
Like,
You were very nervous.
I was very nervous.
But you did very well.
But yeah, I tried a wheel for the first
I think
time.
you're a natural.
I really loved it. It felt wonderful. It was a double treadle. I can't remember the brand, but it was an American brand.
Canadian?
Maybe Canadian?
North American.
Yeah.
I'd say that.
And yeah, instantly we took my shoes off. That felt right. And initially I was very much a lefty spinning, wasn't I? The wheel kept going to the left, which is actually the same on the drop spindle. It's the issue, not issue, but it felt more natural to me to spin anti-clockwise than clockwise. And then within a couple of minutes, it was, oh, I've got control. I found the balance and like the sort of the biting point like you do with the clutch. And off we went. Turns out I am a finer spinner than I'd imagined.
Yeah.
I thought I'd be a bit of a DK, clunky, thick and thin, but I'm a bit of a finer spinner, and I get the bug for having a wheel, but I also don't think I would ever completely go to a wheel. I think doing one skein like 100 grams or 50 grams and really learning and feeling the breed through a drop spindle's something nice to be able to take with you.
Yeah, also Katt has been using the drop spindle in the passenger seat of the car on motorway journeys. She's been doing it on the beach.
Well, that was lovely.
So you can't really do that with a wheel, can you?
You can if you've got maybe the funds, or you time it right to get a second-hand one at an affordable price.
Yeah, but you can't do it in a car.
Or an e-spinner you could.
Challenge accepted.
You just push the passenger seat far enough back. But yeah, I think it's nice to have. For me, it will be a both thing rather than a. Which sounds quite greedy now I say it. I'm like, oh, I'll just have one of each. But I think it's nice to have the option, and even just doing little samples, I imagine it would be nice to get an idea of what Fibre's going to be like without having to set up a wheel. But I've really loved it. I really enjoyed.
Hopefully I got some footage of it, playing with a new camera. So
Oh yeah.
Maybe we'll insert the footage at the end.
Yeah, I think I'll do a little bit of our wander.
And then we will continue to search for a affordable second-hand wheel, probably a slightly more basic one than the one that Katt tried.
Yes.
But it's just something to get used to, I think.
Wow. We'll mute the sound here just because it's going to be crinkly. So this is the lovely Fibre that I purchased from Teen and Floyd, who Teen was the one that let me use her wheel and very kindly showed me. And the hope is that I will go and do maybe a lesson with her. I'm definitely I like it when someone explains something to me once, why to do it that way or how to do it, and then to see it, and then usually I'm very quick to just replicate. So I think before choosing a wheel, I would love to try different wheels, and I think Teen's got quite a selection, and even if they're not in my range, I'll be able to more understand the difference between double drive and Scotch tension, and play with whether actually a single treadle's going to be fine, or actually I think I'll be a double treadler. I think I'll be able to use both feet. I'm both-handed. Obviously I've got a little bit of an aversion to turn into the right, but yes. So I wanted to kind of, say thank you and support Teen before going and seeing her, and as soon as I saw this, I wanted to cuddle it.
You did.
And I did do the loop. I like to walk around a festival once and then purchase, unless I'm really, really taken in by something like beyond. But this one I picked up and gave it a good cuddle and then came back and purchased. So it is 200 grams of washed and carded New Zealand Romney, which Romney seems to be kind of a theme at the moment. But I've never used pure Romney, and I've obviously never spun with it, so I'm quite excited. There's a little bit of edge matter in here which makes my heart sing, because I know that this is what my clothes will look like anyway. Yeah. Filled with, I think I actually had to pull them out of this, which is, I have no excuses, I'm just a child. Yeah, so I bought this and it feels beautiful, and I'm definitely going to ask lovely Alex to maybe...
We're going to dye it?
Yeah.
Here we are.
In my head, this will be used for Alex to maybe knit the Humulus, because you might make your own chart and do your own, mightn't you? You've considered that. But we think Alex should have a colourwork jumper to work on somewhere down the line, and I envisage doing some hand spun for the contrast colour, because it's viable for me to do that on a drop spindle if I've got patience. And we'll dye it in colours of hops and then spin it, or spin it then dye it. It's up to Alex to see if he wants to explore that or not. And yeah, I just think it'll be really fun to have start to finish most of the process. I think we'll have to get you some more commercially or local yarn to do the main colour because I can't spin that much yet.
A whole bunch as well.
But yeah, I'm very happy with this purchase, and it's not that sheepy. She's cleaned it really, really well, which I'm kind of hoping that once I get, you know, playing with it, it'll unleash its scent. Sorry.
Strange lady.
Yeah. We'll talk about the Jacob woman in the next episode, but she was a bit because we went to a different place recently, just yesterday, and there was a lot of Jacob, and she didn't quite understand my love for the scent. But anyway, who did we visit next? Ooh, we visited the creator of this dream. Look at this hobbity goodness. Steph is a knitter and fibre creator and drawer and illustrator and overall very clever human being who I did a little interview / cozy chat with at Christmas last year. No.
Maybe it was the year before.
It might have been, yeah, it was the year before. Wow, time is going. It really is a weird soup. And we've never got to meet in real life. And it's very difficult to gauge how tall people are. And I think I try and say I'm pretty short. I'm not tiny, but I'm pretty short. We're a bit like hobbits. We're sort of somewhere in the middle between hobbits and humans. And Steph just looked at me and was like, "You're so small," and I was like, "You're so tall." And Steph's hair is amazing at the moment, by the way. If you don't follow Steph on Instagram, a 10 out of 10 recommend, just for her amazing hair. That is something that I wish I had the inclination and time to do. But anyway, Steph does beautiful stitch markers. They are what I think of Steph as doing, but she also dyes beautiful yarn. Her club colourways have been really quite gentle, the ones that I purchased at the beginning of the year, but the thistle one that I recently saw at the festival was particularly like moody and dreamy. But anyway, what I purchased was this art bat, which I've never spun from this kind of thing, so it will be a while until I do. So if you do have any advice, I will definitely do my usual. I'm going to look on YouTube, I'm going to ask some people, but if you as a spinner have any tips, I would be very grateful to hear them. So yeah, what you might notice is this is pretty wild for me. You can see that, hopefully you'll be able to see that there's a little bit of Angelina in there. I will get some close-ups, but these aren't fibres that I usually work with. Bamboo, I think it's merino, and Angelina. But this is a bit special because it's recycled, and I'm happy to kind of purchase and use these fibres when they've been, you know, saved from landfill, wasn't it? Steph's friend does a needle felting course. Alex, you might want to get in touch. And she was actually just going to get rid of this fleece, which kind of breaks my heart a bit in fibre, but Steph is amazing, rescued it and spent the time and effort to put it together in this gorgeous bat, and I'm now wanting to spin it now. Look at those colours. You see that Angelina here?
Oh yeah.
It's like, makes it a bit festive.
I've just realised we're now in the dark.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Dark and moody.
The sun has gone behind a tree, so perhaps we look like we're sitting in the dark now.
And I'm going to quickly hit pause because, as I said to Alex, he's like, are we going to be able to talk? I was like, I can talk about fleece and fibre for way too long. I'm sorry, honey. Oh. So, yes. I'm very excited about using this, and I'm glad that Steph's offering this kind of thing where she's using fibres or saving fibres from otherwise a sad, sad life. Oh. And yeah, we then, I mean, there was a lot to see. It was quite overwhelming at the threshing barn, who have everything, especially spinning and weaving equipment. We had a good old chat with the lovely Rosie at the Kenneth Spinning and Weavers and Spinning Guild. Got shown she was using a Ashford Joy, I think. Quite a small, or maybe it was a Traveller. It was a very small wheel that she was carried in on a rucksack.
Yeah,
cool.
She was really lovely. She was really nice.
Lots of information very quickly.
Yeah, very willing to share information. Very enthusiastic about it. She showed us a bit of weaving.
Yeah, and a bit of spinning.
On a loom, a bit of spinning. She was spinning silk as well. It was quite impressive.
Yeah, I can't remember what she said. It was something about that in particular. It hadn't been processed too much, so there was a few like lumps where the cocoons.
That's right. Yeah.
I can't remember, but it was a little bit slubby, and it was really nice. And we both picked up the fibre and were like, whoa.
It literally didn't weigh anything.
Must have been 5 grams for sort of.
Yeah.
10 grams maybe.
Yeah.
But very enthusiastic about getting new members, and I think I might go to the London Guild once to see, and the Hatfield Guild to see, and see if I can find a guild home and maybe do sort of a meeting a month if I can, because I think it's a wonderful way to learn in real life and connect with people. And they do all that we've met anyway seem like they are not only really, really encouraging of new makers and willing to share information, but they have quite nice initiatives. Like they were doing a lot of sock and hat knitting for charity, weren't they?
Yeah.
And I just think that's something that I would like to delve into a little bit more. Especially with a group of people. I mean, we could probably organise something among us if you've got anything. I'm hoping to do a community cookbook as well, but we'll continue that chat. So thank you, Ashley, for informing me that was a good idea, because we do have a few people excited about it already. Anyway, waffling.
It's good to waffle.
It is. I love a waffle. Do love a waffle. We had a waffle cone yesterday.
Check it. Checking my progress in the viewfinder there.
You're getting on good with that. I think you'll have it done this time. Next week maybe you can come and do a...
Not next week.
Not next week.
Maybe.
Maybe the one after. Yes, so that's quite an interesting thing. If you're part of a guild and you've got any advice for anyone joining a guild or wanting to join a guild, that would be nice, not just for myself, but I think it's fun to share down in the comments, because we do have a lot of conversations going on. I know that lovely knitter designed a pair of socks as her cat was sat on her lap, kitten, and she's trying to think of a name for the socks, but her cat's called Pearl, and she thought that might be quite confusing to a lot of knitters to call them pearl socks and then actually be cabled, not pearled. Which I was like, yeah. So I think Pearl's catnap socks would be cute. Anyway, it is a waffly one. The final thing I got was this gorgeous, I think it's merino. It was gifted to me, wasn't it, by lovely Anna of Spinspired, who happens to kind of be a family friend. Not intentionally, but very much is. I say not intentionally, but I didn't know that when I first met Anna at the... Was it the one in Watford that I went to with lovely Hannah? But we got talking and then suddenly it clicked and I was like, oh, my Aunt Jenny, you know her? How? And they've been knitting and crocheting and you know, making together for
weaving too.
Yeah, weaving.
Very impressive weavings.
She does beautiful weavings. We'll there'll be some videos of that at the end. Anna's just a very multi-talented crafter. She had shawls for sale, so she was knitting, crocheting, spinning, weaving. And I think there was some lovely jewellery she had.
All
like
sorts. They had all sorts, yeah.
And they're a husband and wife team, and they were up at 3:30 in the morning to set up, bless them.
Yeah.
They really...
Putting in a lot of work, weren't they?
Yeah, he makes I believe his name's Keith. He makes all of the weaving looms, which is quite cool. And he recently, well not recently, but he was taught to weave because Anna thought he needed to know what the item he was making, and he'd been making them for ages very well without knowing how to actually use them, which is quite amazing to be able to make something so fit for purpose without knowing the craft. But transpires she's also going to work with my cousin, which is really fun too. It's like, what?
It's a small world.
It's a very small world. And as lovely Anna was restocking, I just said that's a gorgeous colour and realised it was the colour of Alex's hat that he was wearing, and she just kind of thrust it at me. I was like, no, let me give you something, and she wouldn't. So we're going to potentially make another hat, maybe for me.
Maybe it should be a gift because the yarn was gifted. Although it's a lot of spinning, isn't it?
We'll see, it definitely could be a gift.
Yeah.
I mean, the gift is the art of the making, really. Sometimes it's lovely to have the art of the wearing, but it might last longer if it's worn by someone else. But yeah, it should probably be a gift. Maybe even the cousin that she's working with should have this when it's done. But yeah, it feels lovely. I think it's merino and alpaca. Oh!
Can't get away from gardening, builders, and...
It's just what we do. But hopefully you can't hear that too much. Yeah, it doesn't.
Hopefully the birds aren't too noisy either.
That wouldn't be an issue for me.
No,
and I hope a lot of our friends here like birds, I think. So yes, I'll stop cradling this like a... It looks like one of those glowworms that your sisters probably had growing up. Like a little baby thing that lit up at night, and it's like a cuddly glow light. Anyway, put this away. Hang on. I don't. But yeah, I think that's the festival. What else was there that there was a lot of lovely things, but...
Yeah, a lot of nice people and a few nice conversations. Shout out to Sheila. Sheila?
Yeah.
If you're watching.
Hi! And I did just see your comment on Instagram about your Shawlology post, but I haven't looked yet. I'm going to go and look. We've been very limited on our internet, which again, I do apologise if you've sent me a message or anything. I am trying to truck on through, but it is very limited down here, which is kind of a blessing, but also I get a little bit anxious and sad when I'm not up to date. Yeah, trying to think. We had jacket potatoes. That was good. They were nicely cooked jackets, but I had no beans and I was a little bit sad.
You were very sad.
No beans? How'd you keep your elf? Yeah. So that was a really lovely, it was nice to go. I was a bit apprehensive and a bit anxious just with the world as it is, but I felt completely comfortable the entire time. It wasn't overwhelming, and I think the time slot thing really helped.
It's quite a spacious, big venue too, wasn't it?
It felt airy because it did have a lot of windows, and quite tall ceiling too, which was quite good. But yeah, really lovely. Would be glad to go again if it worked out that way. And yeah, very happy with our little collection. which was bigger, came back bigger than I thought it would. I did only expect to buy one bit of fibre because I like to have a token thing, but I'm glad that we can help support people because it's just good, isn't it?
It's just good.
It's just good. Be excellent to each other. Yeah, right. I'm waffling. Any last comments? Life advice?
Just enjoy yourself.
Enjoy yourself.
Just enjoy yourself. Take a break. We're having a nice break. Much needed. And it's good.
It's good.
Stroke a dog.
Yeah.
Stroke a cat.
As long as you're not allergic.
Swim in the sea. Drink tea.
Drink water. Lots of water. Right, so it has been really lovely to sit down and chat with you. It actually feels really, really relaxed, and I feel like I could sit here and just waffle about life and how good it is to just be with humans, but at the end of the day, it gets dark. I'm kidding. And we should probably go and enjoy the beach or some kind of activity. If you have any recommendations on things to do in Devon for the next 2 days, once this is live, please feel free to share. We definitely need to go for a walk around Dartmoor, and I really secretly hope that I can find some Dartmoor fleece somewhere, fibre or just a skein of yarn, because it's a fibre that I've never worked with. And yeah, I hope that whatever you're up to, you are enjoying it. Make sure you make time for yourself. If you're making anything, I hope you are finding joy in that item. And don't forget to love each other. I hope to see you again very, very soon. Oh, it's a bit further away today.
ba ba.
You being a sheep?
Ba ba ba. It's the sheep song.